I'm going to talk about a couple of ways for killing germs and keeping things sanitary. Two major ways are a disinfectant and an antiseptic, which disinfectants are used on surfaces because if they're used on live cells, they'll kill the live cells. You could use bleach on your skin, but it's going to kill whatever's on your skin, and it's going to leave you with a nasty chemical burn. And that's why when you're using things on people's skin, you use an antiseptic, which is less harmful to the living cells that you don't want to cause damage to. You just want to get rid of the germs that are on the surface of those cells. And something I've been researching lately and I found out is that the rubbing alcohol doesn't kill the germs like you think it would. Mostly it just damages them and it lifts them off the skin enough for you to wipe them away. So if you don't do that, then you still have those germs in that area. So, just showing you with a baby wipe here, what you do is when you use the rubbing alcohol, you start in the center of where you're working and you do circles, slightly bigger circles till you get to the outside, and then you throw that away and you get a new one. Start from the center and do the same thing again. You never return back to the middle, because then you're taking all the germs you just collected and sticking them right back in the middle. So when you're using alcohol, you have to rub away those germs. It will damage them, but it won't get rid of them. And that also leads to the question of people who spray their machines with the rubbing alcohol. Unless you come in and you rub your machine down after you spray it, you're not getting rid of the germs. You're just spraying them and leaving them on there. So just remember, if you're using the alcohol, make sure you wipe it away, wipe those germs away. It's going to pick them up off the skin for a little bit, and then it's going to evaporate, so you gotta wipe those off. So the bleach, another interesting thing I found out is that there's germs that are resistant to bleach. So bleach is a disinfectant, and you put it on stuff, it kills a lot of stuff, but it won't kill all of the germs. You know, germs get these little protective coatings that they're protecting themselves, though, and sometimes they come up with ways to protect themselves from things like bleach, so you get, resistant germs. And so in that case, you have to go with a germicidal solution that is specifically made to kill off the bacteria and germs that the bleach won't take care of. And then, something that you think is less harmful, something that you think won't work as good as maybe these things, but actually works real good for killing germs, is soap. And this is just an antibacterial soap, but when the properties of soap, when you wash with it, wash your hands or something with it, will actually kill some of the bacteria. So it's not like rubbing alcohol where it leaves it on there. It will actually kill some of the bacteria, and then the lubrication from the soap, when you rinse off with water, will rinse off all those germs. when you're cleaning your workspace, you can use bleach, but remember, it's not going to kill everything. So you want to use the germicidal solution when you're cleaning your workplace. And if you're cleaning your machines, you also want to use this, because this is going to get the germs and stuff that the bleach or the rubbing alcohol won't get. And you spray it on there and wipe it off, and it's going to get rid of all those nasty things on your machine. So when it comes to disposing of your needles, whenever you're done with a needle, you don't want to mess with it. I mean, I take this right out of my machine. When I'm done, I take it out, and it goes right into a sharps container. Now, if you don't have a sharps container, and let's say you have a dog that likes jerky treats, what you can do is throw the needle in there. This has a nice big lid, and the needle goes in, you close the lid, and that's it. You don't have to mess with that anymore. The only thing is you want to make sure that your container has nice thick plastic so that the needle won't go through it. Another thing that works is a kitty litter container. Let me try to get this all in the shot here. Okay, so this is a pretty good sized jug, and it's thick, so it could hold the kitty litter. And the nice part about this is take off the lid, drop in the needles, and you can get a good amount of needles in there without having to mess with them. You got plenty of room, so you can collect a lot of those before you have to get rid of them. And you can see what I've done here with a Sharpie marker. I actually wrote sharps on here. So when it's time to dispose of these, and I just got this, but I would do the same thing on this. I would write sharps on there, so that when it's time to dispose of these and someone might come into contact with this, they know not to mess with it. It has a warning on the side. You can put skull and crossbones, warning, anything like that to let people know not to mess with this. And another precaution, you don't just want to leave this like this, because someone can easily unscrew that. So what you want to do is get you a roll of duct tape and just wrap this up. Wrap it up a whole bunch of times. Come over the handle. You can put it over this way and that way. Just really make sure that that's not going to open, and people are going to be aware that if they mess with this, they're likely to get hurt or injured. Another thing I've heard about is you could get plaster of Paris, and when you're finished with this, you could just open up the top and fill it full of plaster of Paris, and that's going to turn this into one big block that nobody can mess with those needles. And that's another good thing to do. this needle hasn't been used, but if you're done and this is a dirty needle, you don't want to mess with it. You don't want to come in here and try to break this off so that nobody gets poked, because while you're trying to break this off, what's going to happen to you? You're going to get poked by a dirty needle. So the best thing to do is when you're done, just take it out from the end that's not going to poke you, drop it in your sharps container, and don't mess with it anymore until it's time to get rid of this container. Tape it up and get rid of it. Okay, so another thing you can do is actually get a sharps container if you have the money for it. And this is a hard plastic container. You can see it has the biohazard label on it. So these are pretty recognizable to people, and they know not to mess with these. And the reason why all these needles are in here is that my wife's diabetic. Her family, she has family history of diabetes and stuff, and her physician and the people who are helping out were actually the one who told me how to do this. And I've done this and learned this from other people, but they've actually said that this is a reliable way to dispose of needles. So don't wrap them up in paper towels and just throw them in your trash can. Don't just leave them out there where someone's going to get poked with them. Okay, a note with this germicidal solution is you can't just spray it on and then wipe it off. You have to spray it on there and let it sit for a little while, let it do its job, and then come back and wipe it off. Your skin, the skin cells on the outer layer of your skin, they're all dead skin cells. So when you're dealing with things, like bloodborne pathogens, they say that, for instance, AIDS is transmitted by bodily fluids. You don't have bodily fluids on the top layer of your skin. The time you really have to worry is if you get a cut, or if you have an opening in your skin. You have to worry about sores, or your eyes, worry about things getting into your eyes and your mouth and your nose, ways where they can get into your body. With your skin, it's kind of like an armor almost. Like it's all dead. It's not going to let anything in. So if you have germs on your skin, it's not going to bother you, and you get some soap and you wash them off. But then if you get a cut, then they have their entryway into your bloodstream, and ways for you to get infected by that. So, remember, protect any cuts, and protect your eyes as well, and your mouth. Don't be putting your fingers in your mouth or other places near your face while you're tattooing somebody. But one of the questions that keeps popping up is, what do I do when there's a bunch of dried ink in my tip and I need to clean it out? So a lot of times people say, well, I just get some rubbing alcohol and spray it out of there. Or I get my green soap or something and spray it out of there. And I'm going to show you in a minute why that is a bad idea, especially since you don't want to hit that material, which is full of blood and plasma and other stuff, and have it sprayed up into your face where your eyeballs are at and your mucous membranes, and that's going to get into your system. So what you want to do is either dip it in a cup of water and let it run for a little bit. Just fill up a color cup with witch hazel and run it in your color cup to help get that out. And then when you pull it out, push your needle bar down so your needles come out and wipe off the end of it. Again, making sure that you're not going to stab yourself with those needles. So, the best thing to do in that case is don't spray it with anything. Don't use your spray bottle, because you're going to send all that stuff flying everywhere. Just put it in your water cup or in a color cup with something to clean it off. I'll go give you a good demonstration as to why spraying this tube with a spray bottle is a bad idea. So let's say this is the tip, and this is your color cup, and this is where you're going to stick your spray bottle in there to clean out the tip of your tube when it's full of ink. So let me show you what happens when you do that. What it looks like when you clean this out under pressure instead of just putting it into a cup of water or a cup of witch hazel. So you can see that, if you spray something into your color cup, that a lot of that stuff's gonna go places you don't want it to. It's gonna go back into the tube, or it might spray up in your face or somewhere else. And it might not be that noticeable, it might be microscopic, but it's still something that you don't want to do. Be safe, protect your eyes if you have to, and don't put things in your mouth. So another way to kill off germs is heat and pressure. Because you heard about how some germs are resistant to the bleach. So what we want to do is clean all our equipment with the germicide solution. Get an ultrasonic cleaner, put it in there with the solution. Make sure you get these brushes and clean everything out, clean out these little crevices. If you're not using disposable equipment, which I like to use, you have to be really careful and make sure you clean everything really good and kill all the germs on it, or else you're going to use this on multiple people and you could infect multiple people with this. So clean it really good. Make sure you're doing this right. Do the solution in the ultrasonic cleaner for a while, and then take it out and get some of these autoclave pouches. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it in the autoclave pouch. And this is sticky, so you can seal this up. You pull that off, and you would just put a little pressure on that, and then you can write the date on this, and you can see it has little indicators. These will change colors, you know, once it's been in there long enough. So keep an eye on that, you know, to make sure that it had the right amount of pressure and the right amount of heat. And then, you know, so date this so you know when it's been in there. And then what you're going to do is put it, if you had an autoclave, you know, that's a lot better than this. I measured out how much water I needed before, and this is actually a dog bowl. And what you want to do is put the water in there, but you want to keep the equipment out of the water. So the way this is set up is the water stays under the bowl and the equipment sits on top of it. So the bowl would go in there with the water, and you don't want to get these pouches wet. You just want the steam to hit them. So I have this screen that I put in there, and the equipment sits on this too, just to keep it out of the boiling water. You just want the steam to hit it to kill all the germs. So that would go in there with the water. I'd put that in, set everything up, and then I would turn it on, and once the steam starts coming out, that's when I would set my timer for 15-20 minutes. And then after that I would take it out, germicidal solution and the pressurized steam, cleaned it. That way, make sure there's no germs on this thing. Be extra careful with equipment you're going to be using all the time. And this is also a process which is a lot easier if you just get the disposables